It is standard Super League time. I'm Randy Bueller, joined by Luis Scott Vargas as usual, and welcome Kenji Egashira.
Hello, hello.
You are not Paul Cheon.
Wait. Okay.
But you are replacing Paul Cheon this week. Paul had a family emergency, unfortunately, unable to join us, but we were happy that you could step in, taking a break from your legendary stream duties or something. If there is a legendary streamer in Magic, it's got to be you. Numot the Nummy, clearly the #1 stream going these days. You even got a "the" in the title. It has to be a legendary stream, right?
I know, right? I actually just finished right before we came live here, so good timing.
That works out. Now, with your stream, you play a lot of limited. How much standard do you actually have under your belt? Are you going to be able to help Paul? You know, he's in playoff contention here.
I'm a better Cheon, so I think just on that merit alone, I should be able to do, okay. I've got quite a bit under my belt from last night, this morning. Like, it was kind of spur of the moment. He shipped me the deck list. I jammed a few 8-mans. I won 2 in a row. That's got to be good enough, right?
Well, I mean, it's the Cheon power rankings. They're not that hard, right?
Fair.
Or at least maybe the bottom couple spots are pretty flexible.
Luisa and Kyle are pretty hard to beat. I don't know.
So you're actually in a really good position here, because if you lose, it's because Paul gave you a deck that wasn't good. And if you win, it's because you played great, and despite the deck Paul gave you. So no matter what, you're blameless and you get to take all the credit.
Exactly. This is the best, the dream, I guess.
It's a pretty good thought. So the deck that Paul chose for you is Naya Dragons.
Yes. That Ali, played at the SCG this past weekend or whatever it was.
Right, yes. Star City Games Invitational. It was half modern, half standard. His standard deck of choice was red, green, white dragons deck. So Atarka and Dromica teaming up together. And then in modern, he was the one on the Tron deck, right? I remember it was Tron versus Bloom in the finals, which pretty exciting match, actually. You've tried it out. You like the deck? The deck is legit?
It's pretty fun. I mean, it's got dragons. It's got Whisperwoods. It's even got Xenagos, God of Revels. I've not seen that card in any deck in a long time, and it did a lot of work last night when I was testing it, so excited to see how it does against what Paul told me is probably going to be some form of Jeskai.
Paul told you what to expect from Josh?
Yeah.
What was the scouting report?
He just said, it's probably going to be Jeskai of some sort, so.
Jeskai of some sort, interesting.
I have no idea, though.
You are in third place. You see the 35 points there. 65 points, third place. Paul is right on the edge of playoff contention, so pretty big week. Josh, a little bit lower in the standings. You can kind of knock him down onto back against the wall mode with a win here. Some kind of Jeskai, huh?
That's what Paul told me. It looks like Josh isn't doing so hot, but with a win here, he could get above Paul. So gotta win at least one match, I think.
That's a good plan.
Though I don't think anybody can touch Owen at this point. I think we're all fighting for second.
Pretty much, yeah. The way this works, Owen has not mathematically clinched the 1 seed because hypothetically, Jerry or Paul/you could win both weeks, and Owen could make 2 first-round exits. So mathematically, he hasn't clinched the 1 seed, but he has all but clinched the 1 seed, and he's definitely clinched the playoffs.
So has he lost a single round 1 yet? Owen, that is?
That's a great question. Not many.
I don't know if he's actually lost a round 1. That is tough to answer.
I can look that up. I'm going to guess once. Clearly an impressive performance from Owen. Now, he was defeated by Tom, too.
Okay.
He ran Mardu Dragons to a round 1.
Gotcha.
I think that is literally the only one. Yeah, he's lost 1 round 1. Wins the week more often than he loses round 1. Interesting stuff. So you're paired against Josh Layton. Raptor's range is pretty wide. We'll see what he shows up with. And then if you win that, you get the winner of Brian and Tom, which, by the way, is going to be the other match that we're going to save. So Brian and Tom, we're going to put on hold. We'll basically show them after we show the match between Kenji and Josh. I really wish we knew what to put in parentheses in front of your name. That's the thing that's bugging me about this scene right now. I mean, Luis has embraced his 52ndness, and you say you've guaranteed victory this weekend in Charlotte.
No. I haven't guaranteed victory in Charlotte, but I would like to get at least 1 pro point. Not only because 1 pro point is actually relevant to me, but because that would tick that number down just a little bit.
That's victory. Victory is getting the 52 to go to a smaller number.
Yeah, I would take like a 47 or something. That'd be great.
See, I just want a number to begin with, you know. It's
Yeah, you've come close. I was watching with everybody else the top 8 run you had in the mocks. Was it last weekend?
Oh yeah.
Well, you've been like a win away from qualifying like multiple times, which really sucks. I mean, I know how it is.
Yeah, the last few months have been so close. That PTQ finals loss, the 9th in the GP, you know, top 8 the mocks, top 4 the mocks, another PTQ round 1 loss, another PTQ top 8, and then I like bink the limited champs, which is irrelevant. You just get a lot of packs. So
you're clearly knocking on the door. You're clearly somebody, and you have not yet played a Pro Tour, right?
I have never played a Pro Tour, no.
It can't be that much longer with the rate at which you're putting up top 8s. It sure seems like you're due at some point to actually finish the job in one of these top 8s.
I'll be going to Charlotte this weekend, so we'll see if I can do one better than my previous modern run of 9th.
Wow! All right, I didn't realize you were going to Charlotte. What's your take on modern?
I've been stuck on Splinter Twin for months now. I've been having a lot of trouble against the Grixis decks, the Delver decks, but other than that, you know, I think I'm pretty capable.
What are you going to run, Luis? Or do you want to say?
No, I don't mind. I'm looking at running Splinter Twin, but I haven't ruled out a different kind of Snapcaster deck of some kind. Just because I do want to play with blue cards. Part of the reason I wanted to book for Charlotte was just to play a deck I enjoyed playing. Like I played Obvin at the Pro Tour because I thought it was a good choice. I don't enjoy playing that deck, so I just ruled it out for this GP. I mean, for a Grand Prix, I'm just not going to play a deck that I don't really like playing unless it's like a clear reason to play it. Whereas in a Pro Tour, I'll play whatever I think is the actual best. And yeah, I'm happy casting Cryptic Command and Snapcaster Mage, so I'll see in which shell I do that this weekend.
Fair enough. That all makes sense. So that's modern. We've got standard queued up for you guys now, though. Either of you going to, I guess Providence is the next standard GP. That's the following weekend? I just booked a flight to Providence. I'm pretty sure it's the weekend after.
Currently, I'm not planning on it, but I could do what I did for Charlotte, which is change my mind at the last minute and pay way too much for a flight. So we'll see. We'll see if that happens.
Fair enough. Well, Kenji, thanks for chatting with us. Good luck holding up the Cheon name, the Cheon reputation here. We'll let you get set up, get the hand cam set up so that we can watch your match against Josh.
Sound good. Thank you.
Meanwhile, let's look at the bracket. Let everybody know what else is going on tonight. The matches which are off camera, we're going to have Andrew Cuneo against Brad Nelson. So 2 guys toward the bottom of the standings right now. Andrew is in next to last. Brad is tied for 5th and 6th. So loser of that is definitely in trouble in terms of playoff run, but the winner's got the ability to put points together. And then Jerry versus Owen, battle that's first versus second right now. So, I mean, that is for Owen trying to clinch the #1 seed. And, I mean, Jerry could really use some points. He can start thinking about, you know, clinching a playoff spot if he puts up a couple of wins here tonight. And Brian versus Tom, like I told you, we're going to hold that one. So it'll be Kenji and Josh once we get all of our hand cams set up. You have any reads on Josh? Do you like the Jess guy read that Paul handed to Kenji?
Well, I know what Josh is playing because I lent him cards for it. You know, he's living with me currently, so he's here for the next couple of weeks. It's funny that Paul guessed Jeskai with Paul's normal amount of accuracy. Josh is playing every color not included in Jeskai. He's playing exactly black-green. So nice. Paul guessed 3 of the 5 colors or somewhere within that, and Josh is playing black-green control, which is pretty awesome. It looks like a pretty sweet deck. It's kind of like an Obzon Megamorph control deck, but instead it's got a more consistent mana base, and it gets to just play more double black cards and double green cards. Yeah, we should try to put Josh's list up on the screen if we can. It is, yeah, Megamorph control, basically. So you look at it, and we'll get it up on the screen momentarily, hopefully. Josh he's got the whole like Megamorph engine with the Seder Wayfinders to kind of spill, you know, death den protectors, targets, and things into the graveyard. But there's none of
none of the top end creatures you normally see. There's just the 2 Ugin, the Spirit Dragons, to go with the 2 Haven of the Spirit Dragons he's got in here as well. It looked kind of cute to me that Haven of the Spirit Dragon with no dragons.
Yeah, it's because it's playing black-green. It's not playing white, so it has, you know, no 3-color issues. You lose that on Siege Rhino. That's a big one. But Josh thinks that you gain enough of mana consistency, and then you have enough good cards to fill up your deck already. Like, you're not lacking good cards in this deck.
So the way to think of this is as Abzan control minus the white cards?
Yeah, I think that's basically what we're looking at. I mean, it has, again, it gets to max out on Raptors, Den Protectors, and Wayfinders, right, as well as play like a couple Tassigurs, which, you know, the Abzan decks do end up playing, but also multiple Ugins. It has Read the Bones, which is frequently, replaced by Abzan Charm. Again, it's taking kind of like some power level downgrades, but the upside is that, again, the mana is better. This deck does not get mana screwed nearly as often.
Interesting. It seems like a pretty real deck for Josh.
It is. I don't think that this deck is as far off the beaten path as we're used to seeing from Josh, but he does need to win some matches in these last 2 weeks. So.
Yeah, this does look like, okay, he wants to try to get a little serious, see if he can put a playoff run together here at the last minute. Interesting. I'm definitely curious to see how this plays out. And tell me about the matchup versus Naya Dragons.
It's kind of a slugfest. I do like the deck that has a bunch of Whispered Elementals and Giant Threats in this matchup, especially since Death Mist Raptor is a fine card, but it's a little less impressive when your opponent's just flying over the top of you, when you can't really block as well, and, you know, a Whispered can kind of ignore a Death Mist Raptor, just make a manifest every turn. When your main engine is not as good, I think that's kind of bad, but having multiple Ugins and having like cards like Silence the Believers and Crux of Fate, these are all really good cards against the Dragon deck.
Is the whole Death Mist Raptor thing, is that why there's so many dragons in Standard right now? I mean, it just seems like every time I look around, it's like, oh, here's Naya Dragons, here's Red-Green Dragons, 5-color Dragons, Esper Dragons. There's just so many dragons running around Standard right now, which, I mean, on the one hand, it's kind of cool, but on the other hand, is that really a consequence of Death Mist Raptor, or is it just that the dragons are so good?
I think it's just the dragons got pushed. The dragons are, you know, Thunderbreak, Storm Breath, Ojutai, Selimgar, Dramoka, like all these dragons are just great cards. Atarka's a great card. Like having all these different really good cards is why the dragon decks are popular. Obviously having Raptor around does, you know, Death Mist Raptor does make it so there's a little more pressure to go there, but that I think it's mainly that the dragons are just really good.
Fair enough. So, and you like the dragon side of this matchup. Josh has got game, but not quite favored.
I do like the dragon side. I don't think it's huge, though. These decks do seem fairly close together as that stands.
Makes sense to me. I know we are getting Kenji up to speed on screen share and hand cams. Shouldn't be too much longer. We'll get you down to the match between Kenji and Josh. We can talk about some of the other decks that folks are running, though, if we can show some other deck lists. Andrew, I think, like Josh, kind of getting a little more serious with his deck choices here toward the end. He's got the blue-white control deck that he played at the Pro Tour and that he seems to think just is the right way to build a control deck in a current Standard environment. So he's taking that into battle with Brad this week. You're not a particular fan of his blue-white build.
I think that these decks are okay. I like the way his green-black Constellation deck has been looking. I think that deck's pretty reasonable. So I wouldn't say that he's necessarily gotten more or less serious. I think both decks are good. I do think that Cuneo builds these control decks that if anyone else played them, they'd do horribly. And I don't know. I can't say I fully understand some of his control decks. Like, I think they're awesome. And I think it is just like an incredibly good deck builder. But sometimes he builds these blue-white decks that have 16 counter spells and just no cheap cards, and I'm just like, I don't really get how this deck works.
All right, well, it turns out Brad is already up a game in that match, so we've got our game queued up and ready to go. Andrew will be playing from behind against Brad Nelson, who is running back the same green-red devotion that he won last week with, by the way. So here we go. Kenji Egashira is on not quite red-green dragons, it's actually Naya Dragons.